Yeah, I'm recording.
All right. All right. Well, are you ready to get started?
No, it's horribly.
All right. Well, I'll do my opening here.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to a very special episode of Cosmic Road. We are once again joined by the super talented remote viewer, Anita Okonen. Thank you so much for joining us, Anita.
Hi.
I I can't wait for this. You got such great information on the Nazca culture and the beings last time. I can't wait to see what you've got in store for us this time. Are you ready for me to reveal the target?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. This is the target.
Oh, hang on, let
Okay,
me see.
that of course is Skinny Bob. And if you don't know who Skinny Bob is, Skinny Bob is an alleged videotape containing footage of a gray-like alien. The video first appeared on the internet in early May 2011. The video became very popular in the UFO and alien research community, although it was speculated that the footage was a promotion for an upcoming film or TV series at the time. The video has also been presented as alleged leak footage from the KGB, although this remains unconfirmed. While most skeptics claim the footage is a hoax, most true believers argue that it would cost a fortune to fake the video, and nobody has claimed credit for it in all these years. So the target, the tasking was go to when this image was created. See the being that is the focus of the image. Determine if this is or was a real living being or a hoax. If a hoax, describe who hoaxed the image and why. If real, describe where this being came from, what planet or dimension, why it was slash is here, how it came to be where it was in the picture, who held it, and what its fate was, along with any others that were with it. Who are you, Skinny Bob? Because the idea with Skinny Bob, and the video that we have of Skinny Bob, we have a very short video of Skinny Bob just kind of standing there as if like he's, a police, stand up. And then we have another short video of Skinny Bob walking around with other beings of his kind, like out in some yard or something, like they were, captives or something. And they were taking their afternoon break, or whatever, their recess. So that's all. So we have those two videos. I think that's all we have of Skinny Bob and his people. And, so people have wondered for over 20 years, who, who is that? Is it real? Is Skinny Bob real? It's been a big mystery for over 10 years. So I'm hoping that you, Anita, can shed some light on the mystery that is Skinny Bob. So take it away, Anita.
Wow. Wow, overwhelming. Okay. Okay, so an important part of not failing a session is to fully accept and embrace the target and to feel that, yes, this is where I want to go. So I have no problem there. This session was weird, and in hindsight, I knew that the main element was a life form because as soon as I look at the target number, I see big red, which is a living being. I knew that that's what we need to investigate. But the target didn't let me for some reason. Let's just actually for this one,
I've
I
heard of that of individuals when you're remote viewing them trying to block you from the viewing.
well, not blocking, more like the signal, how it's laid out, didn't wanted me to look at something else, which I found utterly boring, namely a weather phenomenon over an underground base. I want to show you guys actually my full report.
We're gonna see your full report, guys.
Yeah, because, all right, let's go to, Where
The
do I
secret
share
psychic
screen?
dossier on Skinny Bob.
This is gonna be unexpected and weird, but we can do this. This is the full report. All right, all right, all right. Things are weird, as they always are. We'll just look at my session here. Okay. Here we go. So you can see this. It was a life one. The first element which I write is the most important and it comes first. And I write red element life form. And everything within this whole chunk is me probing that life form element. We might need to take this session slow because it's not what we expect and want. This is going weird place. This is a weird one. Let's just look at what we have because I don't think this is a fail session because I feel fully aligned with the feedback. So the life form is doing something funny. People think this is hilarious. I guess we can imagine that to be true. People think this skinny bob is something funny. People think it's hilarious.
Even has a funny name, right?
Yeah, I guess. Is
Kind of.
putrid in a way that isn't obvious. It's swaying, rocking a bit like this. It likes to hide. This was very essential about this life form. And remember, this paragraph you're reading, at this stage, I only see a big red blur. I know it's a life form, but I don't see it yet. It goes underground. It's putrid in some kind of a mess. We don't like this life form anymore. It doesn't get angry. It doesn't anger. We cannot eat this life form. A life form resists damage. It has teeth. That's a bad sign. If I don't think gray aliens have teeth, namely. It doesn't want to be known. It wants to hide.
I have heard reports of gray aliens having teeth.
All right, then you know
Yeah.
something I didn't.
Yeah.
It is not obvious or apparent. It has not been known before. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't fight with anybody. It wants to be left alone. It resists damage. It is carrying some black leather, some hidden envelope it hides. So everyone can read. I'll just skip parts to speed this along. It doesn't fight. It has hairs. So doesn't coincide with the feedback.
Yeah, Skinny Bob doesn't look super hairy.
No. So it wants to hide from me. It has technology inside. It is dusty, wants to be left alone, wants to hide. And it was carrying some kind of this is very early in session. This is a blurry stage. Everything's like blur, colors, impressions, vague. But it was carrying an important package of some kind, a bag close to itself. We'll just go with the session and not try to invent what we want from this target.
Sure, sure.
Heavy. I tried lifting it. It was surprisingly heavy. Humans aren't usually this heavy when I lift them. I can lift,
Lifting the being or lifting the
yeah,
object it was carrying?
the being. This is all the being.
Okay.
I try to always do a push probe on life forms, which means I will push them around as well as pick them up. And that will always tell me something about the weight, for instance. This one was more heavy than life forms typically are. I can lift a grown adult man and it won't feel heavy at all. So this is heavy. It can be damaged easily. It is heavier than I, resists damage. So many things about damage, about if it's vulnerable or not, this kind of data. It's too heavy to lift. It has teeth, comes again. It is soldier essence. I didn't look closer into that, but that's also data. It doesn't fight with anybody. I saw it through some kind of a window glass. It is not dumb. It is busy. And then it starts fighting with me and wants to be left alone because at this stage I'm doing the IP probe and I'm touching it. It is tall and not filled with money. So Life form throughout the session, main element. I knew that the target is tasked around this being, this human or animal. But the target anyway wanted me to go in a whole different direction, which I didn't like. It became a boring session, very bored. This is going to get really boring really fast. Let's just look at it's not up to me. Let's look at the envelope a little. So it's carrying something important close to its body, a bag of some kind. It is, and this bag is being heavily guarded. It's not valuable, but it's important. And it contains food, turns out, candies. It was like sweet chocolates. That's what it felt like. There's some kind of food. And at one time I look in the bag, it was like carrots. So some kind of food like that. Very important to this being. It was super important element. It wouldn't show up otherwise constantly.
Huh.
Another item that was in this bag was eye protection, like goggles, which only fit around the eye. Goggles which protect the eye, and those were important because we're going to go into an underground base. And they have to have these eye protection goggles. And this was also in the bag along with some candies. And these items, so important to this being, it holds this bag close. And some others are fighting over this bag. Go figure. So I think we can leave the long report. I just wanted to see what I wrote. This is all my investigation notes, but we do have a summary. So we can go to the summary.
So did you feel like the being was redirecting you to see something else because it didn't want you to view it?
No.
Why were you getting the boring stuff?
Because let's go to our drawings. This is my first drawing. And there's all the red things are life forms. The big red is our main element, life form, and the other red ones are other life forms, initial stage. And you see the bag with the candies, the black bag and the foods in it. There is a blue swirl. It's a weird session, I can't help it. There's a blue swirl, which is air, and it goes down, swirls downward, and it sucks things in from the air into this pipe. And then things will drop down into this underground chamber. And the black things inside the chamber initially register as trains, but you can see padding on it, it's curved, something that's similar to trains. Here is a close-up of an underground base. You see the pipe, and if you get to the bottom of the pipe, there's a drop down to the floor. And then there's all this rock and dirt environment. It's not a material room. It's like, it turns out to be inside a mountain. So you drop down into here, and it was dark in here. There wasn't any electric lighting. At some point I saw it was just black dark in here. So here I had the main element life form, the big red, and I draw it. And here I'm doing a paper tracing. So I start feeling around.
Okay, Skinny Bob has a new name, Big Red.
All life forms are big red. It's not
Okay.
unique. All of them. Even you or me would be a big red in the beginning if it's a life form. So it had pants, which I drew. It had eyes with eyelashes I had. Just all these things that I'm patting around. You can see that it's in a chamber with the ceiling very close above the head, and that the ground makes a bit of a dip. And you see that on the side of this chamber, it becomes narrow and slippery, very narrow, and air was struggling to get in there through the narrow gap on the side. Suction air. So there's interest. We're just going to reveal this data and then maybe it makes some sense. Okay. So the brown particles, dots on the top, are air. They are a different type of gas, which goes up. And on the bottom is a blue dots. It's a different kind of gas from the brown, and it goes down. So we have a separation of gases within the chamber. This was super important to RV. I knew there was a life form target because of the big red, but RV wanted to show me this chamber and the gas separation. Super important. Why? We don't know. We'll find out maybe. So here we go. So I drew this dog. I had some
It's a
kind
good
of a,
dog. You did a good job with that dog.
I had an animal which had a little black nose and white hairs. It could be still initial blur, but it was a life form which wasn't a human. It could be this being, and I didn't finish the padding. The colors are good, the blue and white. But anyway, so I did ask myself if this is an alien underground chamber because of stories we've heard, that they live in underground chambers and that they eat bodies, and we hear all these myths. So we're in a mountain, and at one time in history, the mountain contains a lot of underground tunnels. And at one time there was a mudslide, and the side of the mountain slid down, and this took some of the passages with it, which then sealed off some of the passages. So there are tunnels which are no longer connected because of the mudslide. I drew that on the bottom center. Now this pipe, which ends with a free fall drop to the floor, I spent hours and hours and days looking at this base. This was super important to the signal. So you can see a body dropped and someone's eating food. And there were beings standing with their backs against the wall lined up in this chamber. I saw that trucks come here and make deliveries and drop off bodies that are dropped into this pipe, into the underground chamber, and also food deliveries. And then there are beings there eating. So, drawn passages, the swirling air. We'll get more into the swirling air and the airlock. So we have this base. It's in a valley, and it has like a halo over it, which consists of gas particles. There's a separation of gases. This whole thing reminded me of stories of Bermuda Triangle, sucking things in, except that it was in a mountain.
Yeah, that's wow. So this halo around it, is that like a force field, or is that like keeping the atmosphere in, the air that the beings breathe in? Do you have any idea? What is that, the halo thing?
If it has an actual, no, it is, RV was clear to say that it is not by design. It is an effect of natural weather phenomena. Because you
Okay.
have a valley. Maybe something was built here to take advantage of this.
Okay.
So
Okay. Interesting.
so we have a valley, we have some wall or stone on the sides. So we have this valley, and in this round on the surface of the valley is a village with houses, buildings. And because of air phenomena, there is air humidity coming in from a forest, and the humidity goes down because it's heavy. And that somehow pushes up, the brown gas goes up. So you get a separation. I know this sounds like crazy. Why am I talking about this? But this
No,
is
it's
the signal.
interesting. It's
This is what I
interesting. You said there were buildings in the valley. Are they human buildings or non-human buildings?
I should have looked closer. I was so preoccupied with this system and the underground tunnels. Let's see. When I looked at them, they looked like black box-shaped tall buildings, kind of tech looking. That's what it looked like.
So
So
higher tech buildings, not like indigenous
no, not
dwellings.
indigenous. It
Okay.
looked like modern black tech. I didn't go inside. I didn't look closely. This halo is important for some reason. And this
Okay.
air
So
suction.
this would be something the control group or the men in black or somebody like that would build, or else the beings.
I had all of this reminded me of Mount Shasta stories of there
Okay.
supposedly being a mountain with an alien base inside. That's the kind of it reminded me of that.
Yeah, yeah. Mount Shasta is fascinating. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know why this is so important. I knew that a life form is main element, but this was so important. All this stuff about how the air gets sucked in creates this swirl that goes down and sucks things in. But this and this suction creates an airlock mechanism. It's like a seal made with air. It's a way to close the pipe passageway from the surface. There's all this thermodynamics going on. There's one type of gases up here, the humidity goes down there, there's air pressure, air swirls, weird stuff. You can see the truck on the right delivering these bodies that I drew that are getting dropped down into this pipe. And
And are
they're,
they, what kind of bodies are they? Are they human bodies?
I'm sorry I didn't check. I was so busy with thermodynamics.
Okay. And did you say they were eating the bodies? What are they doing with the bodies?
I'm not sure if they were eating the bodies. I didn't look.
Okay.
But
Okay. All
there's
right.
beings under the pipe eating things. There was a kitchen there. There were things that reminded me of chocolates. I wrote things like carrots, chocolate, sweets, mustard,
Okay.
cheese, all kinds of impressions of food beings are eating, and they're starving down there. They're fighting each other over food.
Hmm.
Remember, this main element was clasping onto a bag which supposedly has the chocolates, some kind of sweets, treats.
Skinny Bob is actually skinny, guys, because he's hungry.
So there's the city buildings with
Give
the
Skinny Bob a
halo.
hamburger.
Some kind of lights appear in the sky from these phenomena. Okay, so here's a good drawing. So that's the mountain and this whole air halo system above it. It at one time it reminded it made me think, is this maybe on another planet with an alien base that has created as like I called this round halo also a fishbowl. It's like a round fishbowl upside down, although it consists of gases. At some point I asked myself, is this on another planet? Because this reminds, it's like this fishbowl of gases is like a, what do you call it? Like a habitat, like a space habitat to create a gas environment seal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a terraformed area
Yeah,
or something like that.
I was wondering.
Huh.
And there's a village on the surface around this region. And this whole place, like the mountain one time slid down on the side, and at one time the houses on the outside were sucked in. This is weird stuff. And we have all these tunnels underneath. Um, so what did I? This is the summary. So this was all about the life forms were hiding underground. They don't want to be known. Whatever these beings were that were underground were hiding, going deep into tunnels underground to not be known. Secret, secret. There's this sense of secret. They're gentle and docile. They don't get angry. Usually, when I have a human life form and I start patting it, most humans get angry at that point. I've done hundreds of human life forms, and maybe only two were ever friendly when I start really touching them around. So the fact that these do not get angry was significant. Wants to be left alone. And this animal at early stage simply means life form that is not human. I kind of settled with the impressions I was having of, go figure, a blue-white cat with hairs. I guess at this stage I should have looked much, much, much closer. That could be this being. There's a sense that life forms in the underground passageways are stuck here and that they do not want to be here. They live in the underground
Where do
passage.
they want to be?
I didn't look I didn't read their minds. I was so busy looking at the gases and this fishbowl of gases above and the air suction mechanism.
Yeah, it's
RV kept me
interesting.
so busy with that.
Yeah.
So some kind of animals here which is pitiful and hungry and is hiding. And this bag and the foods like chocolates. I saw that there were these things that seemed to be trains underground, and those RV said those trains are very old, and the beings were going boarding on board, and each one was given one of these sweets, treats to eat. They
Huh.
were getting food in this train. The eye protection is important, these goggles that fit over the eyes.
Any clue whether the trains were built by humans or non-humans?
I should have looked closer. I didn't really look so close.
Okay.
And the eye protection has to be worn, otherwise we get air damage. And this
Air damage to the
eye
eyes
damage.
from
Sorry, thinking ahead
eye
of my
damage.
eye damage.
And what causes the eye damage?
I wouldn't know. I didn't
Okay.
check.
Okay.
There are just
Okay.
thousands of things to check.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't know the answers to all these questions. I know. I know. I want it all,
Um,
Anita. I want it all.
Something about passage of time. Time passes very quickly in these tunnels. Um, this whole system of the air suction and just RV kept me busy for hours and days on just that. And every time I start looking at life forms, RV redirects, I get a redirect to the mechanism. Redirect means don't look at this. This is more important for the target for some reason. We did this village. We did a sunken city, a village that got sucked into the ground. Mountain, blue pillars. We did train, underground passageways. Air gap lock mechanism, and a woman or life form had some kind of a thing in the mouth which reminded me of scuba gear thing. And yeah, and bodies are being dumped into this, down into the tunnel systems. Now the interesting thing is if you get dropped through the vertical passageway, there's this free fall before you hit the ground, and there's no way to jump up or climb up from the pipe again. So it really makes sense to be using it for drop off into the tunnel systems. And they drop off bodies as well as food. And this halo we talked about and ring on the ground, there's this formation on the ground. It's maybe a geological. And then I saw the weirdest thing at the end. There was this little board or disc. Someone got up on it and it got sucked up through this hole with this air suction. The suction can suck things in and the suction can suck things out. So let's go to so that's the end of the summary. Let's see. This one. So if you're on the bottom, I saw someone put this little disc on the floor and sit on it or be on top of it, and it gets sucked up through the pipe to exit again.
Hmm.
And that's when I thought this is some weird stuff. Because at first I was thinking it's just somewhere in nature, just some tunnels, cave systems. But that thing was an interesting.
Yeah, clearly
So
artificial. Yeah.
yeah, so as usual, I can kick myself for not probing the main life form better. But for this one, for whatever reason, the signal really wanted me to investigate the system of airlock and the underground tunnel system itself. That's a disappointment. It's a lost opportunity here. You might
Well,
have to
that's all right.
retest
That's
this.
all right. There's fascinating data. Skinny Bob may well come from a people that live underground in artificial caverns where they drop bodies and take trains. Possibly. Very, very interesting. Is that the end of your data, or do you have any more to share with us?
I could go on and on about the setup with this halo of air particles, and it's just boring. It doesn't interest any of us. It didn't interest me. This was a boring target for me. In hindsight, I think the dog or cat, yeah, when I looked at the main life form, RV showed me that it has very short fingers and told me that this is important. Look at that. And I kind of didn't look at that. I ignored that because I was being redirected to look at the area. So, and the fact that this dog was blue and white was mysterious, but I didn't think more about that. So I could say for this target, I had plenty of time on it. I don't think I failed. I think I didn't go somewhere else. I think I'm here. But I definitely focused on the wrong things than we wanted to. But I blame the signal because the signal was redirecting me. That's when you wanna sometimes when you wanna look at an element and you're probing it, instead of seeing data about it, it shows you a flash of the other element and says, no, look here. Or for whatever reason, I wasn't allowed. So the dog, I think, would be the skinny Bob because of the blue and white, especially, and because of not human. But it's a lost opportunity for sure. Yeah, it didn't go well. It didn't go how we wanted.
Well, I made a big effort this time to imprint my intention and my desire onto the task,
Yeah,
so that I wasn't, disappointed like last time, and I had wished it was a different task.
yeah,
I made sure not to do that this time. I made sure to get really excited about Skinny Bob and really putting a lot of intention into that task instead of doing a blind task like I did last time, and then being disappointed when I looked at the actual target.
yeah,
This time I made sure that I knew what the target was and that I liked it and that I really wanted to know about it. And I
yeah,
put all of that into trying to link the random numbers that you got with the tasking that I wrote, and the picture of Skinny Bob. Is there anything that you think that I could have done different or better to make it
no, no,
better?
no. It's for some reason the signal was like this. And usually there's a good reason. Like there's a reason which, if you understand it in the end, you're like, oh, okay, that's a good thing. I mean, I could have probed the life form more, but it kind of didn't want me to. It just kept showing me the underground tunnel passageways and this whole complicated airlock mechanism and the food being dumped down. And for whatever reason, that's all I got. For
Well,
one reason or another, I
you're
wasn't successful in looking closer at this animal, the dog, cat, I think definitely was at least I got as far as the blue white color and that it's not a human. What happened there?
well,
Weird.
you
I
were
was
getting
just I was getting redirected to look at the complex and the thermodynamics. I spent hours on the thermodynamics of gases and all this physics of this airlock. And why? I don't know why. It's not the main element. And I knew it wasn't the main element because I saw the life form, the red. When I looked at the target number, I knew that's the main element is the life form. But whenever I get to probing it, I'm shown the base.
but you don't feel
Why?
like
I
that
don't
was
know.
you don't feel like that was a misdirect or a, that the being itself was trying to redirect you because it didn't want you to see it.
Well, it was hiding for sure. This aspect of not wanting to be known and hiding, going into these tunnels to hide, was a significant aspect. It's a good point. Maybe it was hiding from me because it did get angry
Okay,
at me after a while, whatever it
so
was.
So I know that, or I believe that sometimes remote viewing can show stuff symbolically. Is it possible that the being really didn't want you to see it, and it was symbolically retreating into tunnels? Or, there are
Mm.
tunnels that you were seeing were representative of something else? Or do you think that you were literally seeing a tunnel complex where this being or similar beings might live? Because of all the details you were seeing, the air and everything, it seems more like a literal tunnel. But I do wonder about the symbolic nature and the representative nature that might be possible in some of these events.
I don't know. This one puzzles me. I don't know. Maybe even I wasn't allowed to see it, or because when I probe life forms, I can get some really good data down. I can draw faces and such, but on this one, it just didn't work out that way for whatever reason. I can accept that this was the target. I'm feeling it, but I'm puzzled as to why I had to be shown this complex in the mountain where they're eating.
Yeah, yeah. But at least you didn't see them eating the human bodies or whatever they were tossing down
No,
there.
they were eating something that reminded me of cheese and like chocolate treats, like little sweet treats.
Hey, I like cheese and chocolate, so those guys, at least they have good taste. I don't want to live
Yeah.
in a hole, but other than that,
You know what? Since this is such an important target, I also want to know what this is. Just I really want to RV it again sometime in the future when I don't expect it. I should get it again. And I'll
okay.
probably get the same base again because it's somehow part of it. But
Well, we might want to reconsider, retasks, and if
mm,
you're open to retasking.
not
Um,
really. I think it's cheating to,
well,
well,
the future forecasting group does that all the time, and they get,
well,
they're able to drill down and get some really good,
yeah,
results that way.
yeah,
But whatever you're comfortable with.
yeah,
But all right, well, thank you so much, Anita, for that really intriguing, a little frustrating, but very intriguing data
yeah.
on
It's kind of slipped away, didn't it? It slipped, it was right there, but it slipped away from my hands, didn't it? It kind of feels that way now. And it was
I,
hiding. It was quite clearly it was hiding from me as
I
well.
think it was hiding and that you were redirected to see the tunnels because it didn't want to reveal
Mm,
itself.
could that be
Uh,
the
but
reason
but
though?
but but
Wow.
maybe it revealed part of itself. Maybe it
Mm.
revealed where it came from.
It is, I always say it is what it is. We get what we get. At
Did you
least,
get any sense that it was a terrestrial, that it was human, that it came from Earth, or that it came from somewhere else?
well, me defining it as an animal means that it's not a human. I know that much. I did get that far. Drawing this blue white, just impression of dog like. It's still blurry at this stage, right? When I didn't take it to the full clarity. I couldn't. Yeah, I was trying to see this life form in perfect detail. I sat hours. I sat and worked until I was almost crying and fainting from exhaustion, trying to see this life form clearly, and I couldn't. It didn't let me. And I was thinking, can I not remote view anymore? Because I do things like people targets often. I know my tools. I know how to get a red blur and work out the finer details, and bam, I will see it, the the whole thing clearly. I could not do it on this one. I got as far as the blue white dog shape, meaning it's not a human. I could not get closer with this one. It didn't work. I spent hours trying. Yeah.
Well, I really
Maybe it
appreciate
was
the hard
hard.
work you put into it.
Maybe it was hiding somehow.
That's kind of how it feels, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Disappointing. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I will definitely remote view this target again. It's definitely going into some target pools.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, it
I like
deserves
it.
another try. We'll see
Had
if
had
I
you
can.
ever heard of Skinny Bob before?
Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
I have.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
I'm,
another detail I could add. I saw a woman, or human at least, carrying this animal in the underground tunnels. Is it small, by the way?
I don't think we know how big it is, but I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of looks like, it would be the size of a typical a small
Yeah.
gray alien. It doesn't.
I saw someone carrying it in their arms, if that helps.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No, I
one
mean,
more piece of data.
it's probably carryable, or he or she or it is probably carryable.
Look, Jack, I've had alien targets before. I was tasked once for Zeta to find out, now completely blind, to find out if there's life there. And I made contact with one of the Greys. We had telepathic conversations, and I drew it and I saw it in perfect detail. No problem there. I can do an alien, and I've done it before.
What was the
Something up.
target?
Zeta, the Zeta
Zeta
symbol.
Reticuli. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well,
I
what
can
did the
do
being?
this. Hmm?
Did
But
you have an interaction with the being? What did y'all talk
this
about?
one,
Yeah, the Zeta guy. Oh,
oh, oh, there's a
did
video about that where
okay,
the
I've got
tasker
to see that
may.
video.
Yeah,
Everybody go check out Anita's video. Is it on your channel?
no, it's on the Tasker's channel on his Facebook group. You can put a
Oh,
link under the video. It's really cool.
okay. Well, I hope you get a chance to put it on your channel. I really want to see you get more views, and also I want to see that conversation that you had with this gray alien.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's something I can do. I can, but I don't know what happened on this one. I don't understand. I'm
Well, you were able to
confused.
communicate with that Nazca being last time.
Yeah, yeah. And with
Um,
humans, we always talk. I I don't understand this session. There is something weird. It didn't let me look at the live form closer.
well, your initial readings were that it was secretive and
Yes, so that could tie in.
hiding,
Yes.
and it
So
had teeth.
maybe,
It was letting you know not to
yeah.
mess with it. And you kept on getting the repeated message. It had
If
teeth.
if this being, which I did determine is not a human, because I had it as an animal, I did get so far. If it somehow pushed me away, then it did so in such a clever way that it didn't tell me and I didn't notice, but how just so shy. There was just being so shy, just going and hiding and running away from me. That's what we get. Disappointing. I will do this one again. At least we got to see a base, I think.
Yeah, you got to see cool details about very possible alien base. So, that was cool.
Mm.
Kind of creepy about the body thing, but hey, at least they like chocolate. So hey, that's
it's
something
not
we have common ground. We have common ground, guys.
it's not necessarily real chocolate. It's just something that reminds of a small piece like treats.
Okay, well, I hope it
Yeah.
was chocolate and not chunks of a body. But
Oh, yeah.
but okay, well, thank you so much, Anita. I really, really appreciated you spending a lot of time,
Yeah.
trying to get this data from us. And don't think of it as a field session. It's just, it is
Mm.
what it is, and it was interesting.
Well, fail for me, fail means if I didn't even go to the target site. As long as I'm in the right place, I don't really, it doesn't bother me how much can I extract. As long as I'm in the right place and the data is accurate, it's good. Fail is if I didn't even, I went somewhere else.
Right, and you were feeling like you were making a connection with this target.
Yeah. Now I can add, emphasize, it did start out as a red element life form and then turned into this blue-white dog. That would imply that it is some kind of a being, whether it's a person in a suit or a real alien. If it were just a puppet, I would be likely, it wouldn't. So if this main element, which I had as a red life form, if it were just a puppet or a robot, it would not show up red. It would show up as an usually orange color for object. But we do know it showed up red, so at least we have that. And that it
So it's
wasn't human.
so you what if it was CGI? What if it was computer animated? What would you get?
Wow, good question. I don't know. Now, this target, I feel like it slipped away from my hands. It went hiding. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it slipped away. We gotta task it again. I'm going after it hard next
Okay.
time.
Okay. Well, I'll add it back into the pool for future
Yes,
taskings. And
yes.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Anita. Everybody, give Anita a big thumbs up and a big thank you in the comment section for taking the time to do this. I know it's not easy, and you're really putting yourself out there by doing this and taking a lot of time. But so give everybody give Anita a big thank you. And I'm going to link to her channel below and go check it out. And like, thumbs up, and all that kind of good stuff. And thank you so much, Anita.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.